Hey guys, welcome back to my video. So today's gonna be another college related topic type of video because you guys seem to like these and enjoy these. And even though things have changed in the world, obviously today, I think some of the things will still be relevant and carry over today. So in one of my previous college videos talking about why I went to SFSU, I got in the comment section a question about housing and suggested that I do a video on just related to housing basically. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today, just talking about that. So if you want to hear my advice on that, my experience on housing specifically in the San Francisco area, and keep on watching. Okay, so everybody's living situation is going to vary based off of a lot of different variables. In general, it is important to know that in the Bay Area, housing is very expensive. No matter how you flip it, it just is compared to other parts of the country. In San Francisco, it is exponentially more expensive. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking of going to school here, especially if you're out of state. Just know that it may be a little bit more expensive. Maybe if you're coming from somewhere like another big city, then you're pretty much used to it. But yeah, just throwing that out there very bluntly that yeah, it is expensive. Okay, so I did not stay in the dorms during my time at SFSU or any like on-campus housing options. I stayed off campus in apartments, 3 different apartments during my time there. If you're looking for a video on housing in regards to like dorm life and stuff like that, this is not the video to come to. So there are a plethora of other different videos you could watch on dorms and on-campus housing options at SF State. So I would encourage you to check those out and do your research for that. But I'm going to talk specifically about off-campus options, the pros and cons of that. Lived in San Francisco / Daly City for my first 3 years, and then on my 3rd year I moved back home and just commuted from there. So freshman year, the first apartment, Parkmerced. I lived in Parkmerced, which is literally pretty much almost on-campus housing, but it's not a part of the school. It's not affiliated with the school by any means, but it is literally right next door to campus. A very popular housing option for a lot of the students there at State. In some cases, it was closer to my classes than if I were to live on dorms just because of the location of some of the buildings. So yeah, I stayed there my 1st and 2nd year of school, as do a lot of the students. I would say, I don't know the exact demographic, I haven't looked it up, but most people living in Parkmerced are students, but there is still regular people, adults and families that live there as well. Even if you did not live there, if you're somebody that went to SF State, you are very familiar with Parkmerced. You've probably parked in the complex before. You probably know friends that have lived there, and you've probably been to their house before and seen how the interior looks and stuff like that. So the pros, first of all, convenience. It's a major pro because like I said, it's right there. Couple-minute walk to get to whatever class you need. You could literally sleep in till like 10 minutes before your class and then roll out of bed and walk there. Very engaged in like on-campus activities and student body, frats and stuff like that, that it's very convenient to just be near campus at all times. So yeah, the convenience is a big part of it. Secondly, the student culture, because I said the majority of people that live there are students. It's kind of like its own little student community that doesn't fall under the restrictions and regulations of being on campus. It kind of works out in that way if you still get the whole like student culture, the vibe of being a college student while not having to be in the restrictions of dorm rules and campus rules. Also, another pro is the maintenance and like the services that they have there, because it's like an apartment thing. You don't have to worry about too much. Everything is kind of done for you. Not much like work around the house that you would really have to do yourself. So it's just another thing to not have to really worry about it all, other than being like in your own home or something like that. Cons, it is going to be expensive, not as expensive as being on campus in dorms, but still expensive. You're basically paying for the convenience. Parkmerced is very aware that like a lot of students live there, so they take full advantage of that when it comes to pricing. You'll probably almost never get your deposit back. yeah, no matter how clean you try to keep the house and not, you know, have any lasting effects on there, it's still going to, they're probably never going to give you your deposit back. There is absolutely no parking. Because it's right next to school, everybody utilizes that area to park. So you get people from school parking there at all different times. You have so many different parking rules and times, so you really have to be very, very careful and move your car or get a permit, which is going to cost you another couple $100 every, I don't know if they do monthly or yearly, but yeah, you have to get a separate parking permit if you have a car. Obviously you don't have to have a car because you are in the city, but we do have Muni and stuff like that, but it's not like everything is right there. So if you do have a car, just know you're gonna have to get a parking permit for that. And even when you have your parking permit, you're still gonna have to struggle to find parking every day. Most of the days you're gonna have to walk quite a bit to get to your car. You're not gonna be able to just have like a driveway or just be able to park right in front of your house. No, you're most likely going to be walking a lot of times and battling your way to get parking at every hour of the day. You may think that, okay, it's like after 5 o'clock, it's probably gonna quiet down. We won't have as much traffic and cars here. No, at any time of the day, it is hard to find parking there, no matter how you do it. Even though it's not a part of the campus housing, so you don't have those regulations of dorms, there still are very strict rules when it comes to Parkmerced. We've gotten like complaints in the mail about like not leaving anything on in front of your door, not having anything hanging from your door. Like even when it comes to like plants outside, or they complained about having our pumpkin jack-o'-lantern out there. So they're very like nitpicky and just weird about everything. So they like to throw in extra fees on everything and be very strict when it comes to anything related to the house. Okay, so we went through the pros and cons, just a quick overview. Now I'm gonna dive a little bit more into the culture of living there, why I really, just my whole experience of being there during my 2 years living there. One thing to note about Parkmerced, and everybody knows it, kind of a very like party culture, which is why I don't understand how normal non-students live there and why they choose to live there. But we are not allowed to have like frats and sorority housing at SF State, but there are like many sorority and frat houses, even though technically they're not frat houses. They're just a bunch of people that are in a frat that live together and room together. But basically, yeah, it's a very like party culture. Still is a very like scenic place, and you have like you have parks everywhere, and it's very, very dog friendly. You'll see a lot of people out walking their dogs. Just like, it's a very aesthetically pleasing little community while also being very like party culture. Unless you have a lot of money to be able to live there by yourself, you are going to just expect to be living with a bunch of roommates if you're going to choose the Parkmerced route. I don't know anybody who's lived in a Parkmerced apartment, even if it was just 1 bedroom. I don't know anybody that lived with less than 4 people in their home. So Parkmerced has like the regular ground like townhouse apartment style housing. They also have lofts, and then they have the towers, which are like the high rises basically. And they all pretty much, no matter where you're staying at, they look and have the same outline. They look exactly alike. On the first year, the first apartment, we stayed in a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and it was 5 of us all together in there. Had, like I said, 1 bathroom among us all. So we just really had to be aware of everybody's schedule so that we knew not to take long in the bathroom, or kind of like how everybody's routine was. So in terms of costs, that first year I was paying around $800 every month split among us all. So in terms of costs, I don't know how much has changed today, because this was like 4-ish years ago. This was 2015, 16. It was very tiny, and each of us paid around $800, so it's around like 4,000 something. Not including utilities. Of course, you're gonna have like PG&E, water, all that good stuff. So it would be probably 800 and some change. Just keep in mind that's roughly what you're looking at. I don't know how much has changed now, but to give you context, yeah, I just want to make everything clear and transparent. The second year, we were able to get a couple more roommates, and we had a 3-bedroom because we were trying to find more roommates so that we could have the cost go down a little bit. So usually that's the way to go, just get some more roommates. So we got a few more roommates. We ended up going into a 3-bedroom. We had 3 of the girls in the master. Then we had 2 guys in another room and 2 guys in another room. That's how it went, and still 1 bathroom. And for that, I was paying around 7 something-ish each month for everything. It was a little bit cheaper, not very much. It's all still very small, so thankfully, yeah, we did have the master room. But in terms of everything like downstairs, it was still pretty much the same size, like living room, same size kitchen. My room is probably like 3 times bigger than what the kitchen looked like. Just to give you some context of pricing wise, cost wise, just to give you a rough estimate of what you're looking like. Like I said, things may have changed because of COVID, and they may have had different rules or different prices nowadays, and the process may look a little bit different. In terms of actually landing and applying for the apartments in the first place, I really wasn't on the lease the first year, so I was basically paying my roommate who was on the lease to pay the rent every month. The second year I was on the lease, and they do ask for a co-signer, so your parents basically would have to, one of the parents or whatever would basically have to co-sign, which my roommate's parents did. And we just kind of went from there, paid the deposit, which was outstandingly high, but we expected that, and we just split the deposit amongst all of us. Basically said goodbye to that money. So the application process, I can't remember too much about it, but from what I do remember, it was not very difficult per se. It's just that I feel like the more difficult part of it is just finding a place and finding the roommates, like making sure everybody's on the same accord. Because when you're dealing with a bunch of different people, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. So just make sure that you are finding the right roommates that are going to be serious about it, and if they're not going to be on the lease, you better make sure that you trust them, because you don't want anybody to do anything shady. I believe you still do have the option to do either yearly or monthly. I think the first year we did yearly, second year we did monthly, and everything is even then everything was online, so it's very easy in terms of payment and very straightforward. All right, so that was Parkmerced. Now we are going to fast forward to my third year, which was my last year of being a student, further off campus to Daly City. Now Daly City is the neighbor city of San Francisco, one of the neighboring cities there. Closest other city to San Francisco State, like they're really next door, like hand in hand. Another place is probably the Sunset, whether it's the inner Sunset or outer Sunset district. That's another part of where a lot of students will look for off-campus housing. So this Daly City apartment was in the Westlake area. The Westlake area is another very known area that a lot of students may go. It has like a big shopping center. Not to be confused with Serramonte, which is the mall in Daly City, but Westlake is another like little shopping-ish area. It has like Trader Joe's, it has a bunch of other different like food, restaurants, stuff like that. A lot of different apartments are in the Westlake area. So in this one, there were 5 of us again, and we had a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. For this one, I was only paying around $500 a month. It's not accounting into the other payments, Wi-Fi, water, all that good stuff. So altogether, it was probably like $525-ish, $530-ish a month. Some pros, like I said, it's still very convenient because it's only like a 5-minute, if that, like a 3 to 5 minute drive to school every day. There's still like buses around that could take you there. Very close to BART as well. And you just have a lot of different, like I said, shopping centers, less of like the college vibe, less fratty. It's more like these are like normal, regular people, families that live here in these apartments and in this area. You still do have like the occasional student. It's more like real life, I would say. So there is like less strict rules, at least with the apartment complex that we were in. They were not very like down our throats like Parkmerced was. They kind of just let you do your own thing as long as you pay your rent on time every month. I don't think we ever got like any complaints. It's a little bit more quiet, less party scene. Yeah, if you're looking for more of that vibe of just like not really being in the heart of the college vibe, like you want a more real life residential type of feel, then I would suggest Westlake and Daly City for that type of thing. And yeah, just the location, like you're by literally everything. There's so much to do in that area. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot to do like near campus and on campus and everything, but I feel like in Westlake and in Daly City there's just a little bit more to get into. You have the movie theaters, like I said, you have the bar right there, you have a bunch of different shopping stores, Trader Joe's, really popular, Starbucks. Cons, still absolutely no parking. You would think that because it is a little bit more like residential, maybe you'll have a little bit more parking, but no, you're dealing with pretty much the same thing. Rather than having college people always taking up your parking spots, you have to worry about just regular families that live and the people from the shopping centers. Once those parking lots get filled, you have people parking right there. So there's never any parking. Parking is still a battle, even over there, and it's very annoying. I feel like it's a little less safe. Not saying that it's like super dangerous living over there, like I never really encountered too much. Whereas like when you're in Parkmerced and you're closer to campus, there's always like police roaming around. You could just kind of like walk freely, even at night. Like, well, I wouldn't just suggest, you know, just walking alone at night anywhere, but you feel more comfortable because there's always like students out and about, always cops patrolling, campus security everywhere. Whereas once you're out here in Westlake area, it is like just anything, like anybody and everybody there. So it just felt a little less safe in that respect. I never felt like at risk. Mind you, I was working night shifts then, so I would literally get home around like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., have to struggle to find parking at that time still, and walk a couple minutes back to my door. Looking back on it, I'm like, how did I do that? Yeah, I would not suggest working night shifts and having to do that, but yeah, it's just you don't have that extra level of security when it comes to that. You're kind of just on your own. No matter where you are in the city, or whether this is in San Francisco or Daly City, there is like still a homeless population, so you are gonna find like homeless people around. So yeah, just beware of that aspect. Another thing that I did want to throw in that I forgot to mention about Parkmerced is also the utilities. I know I did mention like maintenance was always there 24/7 and all that good stuff, but you also have like a complex gym. Like I said, you have parks, it's very dog friendly, so it's kind of like its own community, and you could take full advantage of all the amenities that are offered. Amenities, I shouldn't say utilities, but amenities. Whereas in Daly City, there wasn't any gym. Laundry is exactly the same for Parkmerced and for Westlake area. You have like your little laundry room. You have a key to go in there. I would say the two most annoying things about living off campus was the parking and the laundry, because maybe it's just because I'm somebody that hates doing laundry in general. Overall, just in general, I enjoyed staying at both locations, Parkmerced and Westlake. I really enjoyed the convenience. Like I said, convenience was a big thing when it came to Parkmerced, of just being able to walk to class every day. And in Westlake, I really did enjoy the freedom that I had there, and that I was so close to all the shopping centers and stuff, and it just felt like I never really had to leave that bubble very often because I just had everything there in walking distance. It's also right next to the Lake Merced, which is a big lake that goes around the Parkmerced area and the Westlake area. It's a lot of different scenic areas in that respect. There's also a separate hiking trail that connects to the beach. Location is just a lot of cool things about being in the SF State area. But yeah, to wrap it up, there's a lot of different variables and different things when it comes to like making a decision in terms of housing if you're going to be choosing to go to SF State. Like I said, look into videos on dorms from people that have lived in dorms that know. I've heard a lot of, not to scare you away, just a lot of like stories about being in those dorms. But there is pros and cons to everything. You are going to be living on campus or close to campus. You are paying a huge portion for convenience. And that's pretty much it, because there's nothing really special about these houses themselves. Like, they're very tiny, very outdated in my opinion. Yeah, there's nothing special about them aesthetically, inside and out. So just know the main thing that you're paying for is convenience. You're going to be living with a lot of different roommates. Get roommates that you can trust and that will pay on time, that you don't have to worry about. Have a co-signer ready, because they are not going to be trying to trust you as like a teen to be living your own and paying those payments. So you're gonna need a co-signer. There are a bunch of other alternatives the more further away you get from campus, and the further away that you get from campus, know that it is gonna be less expensive. There is Muni that runs all throughout the city, so if you're worried about getting to school, you really don't have to worry about that too much, because there will be a Muni most likely in your area that'll get you to campus every day, no matter where you are. And like I said, the Sunset District is another popular place for a lot of students. A lot of times they rent out the stories, so like they'll have a few roommates living on the first story, somebody living in the basement, and another family living in the third floor. So just know you're gonna be rooming it with a lot of people. And so if you're not into that, maybe San Francisco isn't the area for you in the first place. All right, I probably am forgetting stuff as always. I will try to link what I can in the description if it helps out. If there's anything that I did not answer in this video, just leave me a comment. I'll get back to you, because I know there's so much that goes into finding a place to live. That is my take on housing during my time at SFSU. Hopefully this video helps. Leave it a thumbs up if it did help you in some type of way. And like I said before, just leave a comment if you have a question on anything else in specific. You could also reach out to me via DM on the gram. Any other video suggestions regarding college life, like been there, done that. So if you want to hear more about my experiences and just things in general, let me know. Drop me a video suggestion. Like I said, this video idea came from somebody else's comment. If you've made it this far to the end of this video, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're new, if you're already subscribed, you already know okay. I'll talk to you guys soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.